Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about an interesting plant. You might think it's a citrus, you might think it's a kumquat, but it's actually a cross. So here in my hand I have this plant. It's called a Calamondin, and it's called sometimes the other lime. It is a little citrus plant. It is hardy to zone 10. So those of us in the northern climates cannot grow this outside. You'd have to grow this in a pot. You would keep it outside all summer, keep it in the sun. You would keep it evenly watered, fertilized. Look for a citrus fertilizer, that's important. And then in the winter you would bring it inside. It is what I'll call cold tolerant. It's not freeze or frost tolerant, but you could leave this, say, on a porch that didn't go below 40 degrees in the winter. That would be okay for this particular plant. It would rather be around 50 degrees. We're actually inside of a greenhouse where they're keeping things at about 55 all winter long. Why do I like this plant? Well, I like it because it's a unique fruit, and the fruit is very small. We can see, I'm going to pick one of these here. And you can see this fruit, and it is a cross reportedly between a citrus, likely a mandarin orange, and a kumquat. So if you look at it, you think, oh, it's a little kumquat, or you look at it and you think it's a mini orange. It's actually a cross. Another great thing about this plant, it's self-pollinating. So what does that mean? It means that it will pollinate itself. So these little fruits here, we can see all the unripe fruits on there. The flowers that let these fruits form, these unripened fruits, were pollinated by the plant itself. It didn't need bees or ants or flies or other pollinators to get these fruits to form. And that's important because if you only have one of these, you will get fruit. One of the great aspects of growing this and many other citrus is the scent of the flowers is absolutely fantastic. The smell is sweet, it's intoxicating, and if you do move this inside and it is flowering, the scent will be fantastic right in your house. In order to get the most amount of fruit on this particular plant, you want it in full to part sun, no less than part sun. Anything less than 50% of sunshine of the day will probably not allow it to fruit up quite as nicely, and also keep it evenly moist. This particular plant does not want to dry out. Now, some of the problems that these plants can get, they can get scale, they can get aphids, so you definitely want to check them. And if you're eating the fruit, you do not want to use a systemic. What is a systemic? A systemic is the stuff you put into the soil. It sucks up the poison into the plants. I do not like to use them on any plants that flower because the bees will come and then they get the systemic, and that causes problems with the bees, and that's a whole nother video. So the best way is to kind of keep an eye on it. Use organics. You can use an oil, like a horticultural oil, to keep the bugs at bay. Unlike some citruses which have very large thorns, we don't see any of those big thick thorns on these. I have a grapefruit tree at home and it's got very long thorns. What will happen is these little green fruits will get a little bit larger and then they will begin to turn. So you can see on this particular plant they're starting to turn orange, and once they get to that deep orange and you can easily pull them off, that's when the plant is ripe. So with just a few of the plants you could perhaps make a little pie or some jams or some jellies with the fruits. And it's an attractive plant to have in the garden, on the patio. And remember, bring it inside if you're in one of the colder zones, say zone 8, 7, 6, or lower. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.